When a woman chooses another man, it's easy, almost automatic, for a man to internalize that decision as a personal failure. The first instinct is to believe you weren't good enough, weren't exciting enough, weren't man enough. You start combing through your past conversations, your gestures, your silences, trying to pinpoint the exact moment where you failed to measure up. But let me tell you something essential, something brutally honest and painfully freeing. Her decision is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of her values. People don't just wake up one morning and shift their hearts to someone else without having already justified it internally. They build a rationale around their choice. They convince themselves that the new direction is better for them. And in doing so, what they reveal loudly, clearly, is what they value. Maybe it's attention. Maybe it's novelty. Maybe it's validation. Maybe it's the illusion of someone who appears stronger, wealthier, or more exciting. But whatever it is, it's not about you. It's about what they chase and what they believe will soothe their restlessness. And you, especially if you're a man trying to live with integrity, cannot be held hostage by someone else's restless spirit. The tragedy isn't that she chose someone else. The tragedy is when you believe her choice invalidates you, it doesn't. What it does is clarify who she is and what she needs to feel alive. And sometimes what she needs isn't a grounded, evolving man. Sometimes it's a thrill. Sometimes it's a fantasy. Sometimes it's someone who will eventually disappoint her more than you ever did, but in a new way that she hasn't experienced yet. So let her go. Not because you're bitter, not because you're angry, but because your peace is not worth bargaining for her attention. One of the most painful things a man can experience is giving everything he has to a woman, only to watch her walk away as if none of it mattered. But it did matter. It mattered to you. It shaped you. And that's enough. Don't let her choice rewrite your story into one of failure. Let it mark the chapter where you stopped trying to be what someone else wanted and started standing firm in what you are. You see, too many men become hollow shells of themselves, chasing after the validation of a woman who's already emotionally gone. They tie their self-respect to whether she comes back or not. But let me say this plainly. Your value is not up for negotiation. It is not up to her to define it, test it, or measure it. Your worth existed before she came into your life, and it remains after she leaves. There's a kind of strength in being still while the storm walks away from you. Not chasing, not questioning, just observing and understanding. She made a decision, and decisions always reveal character. So let her go with grace, with composure, with the quiet power of a man who knows that the right woman doesn't need to be convinced to stay. She chooses to stay because she sees the gravity of your presence and feels safe in your steadiness. But let me also be clear, this isn't about arrogance. This isn't about pretending you never cared. This is about discipline. The discipline to stay rooted when everything inside you wants to fall apart. The discipline to rebuild yourself without using revenge or rebound as your fuel. The discipline to look in the mirror and say, she left, but I remain. And that is where a man becomes unshakable. So the next time you're tempted to interpret her choice as an insult to who you are, stop. Look at what she ran toward. Examine what she gave up. Then ask yourself this: do I really want to be chosen by someone who needs to leave in order to appreciate? Do I want to compete for affection like a performer hoping for applause? Or do I want to be chosen by someone who recognizes value without having to lose it first? Your response to her leaving is what defines your character. It's not about becoming cold or emotionally closed off. It's about becoming sharp, clear, immovable in your standards and your sense of self. Letting her go when she chooses someone else isn't giving up. It's rising above. It's saying you had access to a man who was real and you traded it for something else. That was your choice and I respect it, but I will not lower myself in hopes of being your fallback. Letting her go becomes an act of supreme self-respect. And that silence you leave behind, that dignified absence, it becomes louder than any confrontation, louder than any emotional outburst, louder than any desperate text or call. That silence will echo in her memory longer than your presence ever could. So don't chase. Stand still and let her feel what she lost. When a woman decides to choose someone else, it may feel as though your world has been turned upside down. The logical mind will try to tell you that it's just a phase, that it's temporary, or that it doesn't reflect your worth. But that's not what the heart hears. The heart, in those moments, echoes pain. And that pain often leads to confusion. Why did this happen? What was missing? What did I do wrong? These are the questions that flood your mind, keeping you awake at night. But in those moments of pain and doubt, it's essential to step back and look at the bigger picture. The truth is that when she chooses another man, you have to recognize that the dynamics between you were already changing long before she made that decision. And in many ways, the best thing you can do is let her go. It's important to acknowledge that love doesn't just disappear overnight. Relationships, especially deep emotional connections, evolve over time. There are signals, silent changes in the atmosphere, shifts in behavior, and subtle signs that, if you are honest with yourself, were already there. But often we tend to ignore them or suppress them, hoping things will work themselves out as we hold on to the illusion that everything is fine. When a woman chooses someone else, it's not just about the new person entering the scene, it's about her needing something that she couldn't find in the relationship anymore. It's tempting to think that maybe you could have done more, been more, or fixed something that went wrong. But what if the problem wasn't that you weren't good enough or that you didn't give enough? What if the issue lies in the fact that both of you, no matter how much you loved each other, were growing apart, evolving in different directions, or no longer fulfilling each other's needs in the way you once did? The act of letting go is not an admission of failure. It's a recognition of reality. It's acknowledging that sometimes people grow, sometimes they change, and sometimes those changes lead them to other paths. And while it's painful, holding on tightly to someone who has made their decision is a disservice to both of you. There is a quiet strength that comes from letting go. It's a strength rooted not in weakness, but in the understanding that life is not meant to be forced or strained. There are moments where we cannot cling to something because it no longer aligns with who we are or who we are becoming. Holding on to someone out of desperation, out of a false sense of pride, or out of fear of being alone only leads to prolonging the pain. And it's not just painful for you, it's also painful for her, because no one wants to feel trapped in a relationship they've already mentally left. We often confuse love with possession. The idea that you can hold on to someone and prevent them from leaving because you love them is not love, it's control. True love allows the other person the freedom to choose their own path, even if that means stepping away from you. Letting go in this context is one of the most loving things you can do for both yourself and her. It shows respect for her autonomy, and it shows that you value yourself enough to walk away from something that no longer serves your well-being. Think of it this way. Every time you hold on to something that isn't right, you deny the possibility of something better. Sometimes, in order to grow, in order to move forward, we need to release what no longer aligns with our life's purpose. Holding on to someone who has chosen another path is like keeping an anchor tied to your leg while trying to swim in open water. You can't move forward, you can't breathe freely, and you can't grow. By letting her go, you free yourself from the weight of that anchor. You free yourself to explore what lies ahead, to understand yourself more deeply, and to find a relationship that truly complements your journey. It's also worth noting that letting go doesn't mean you give up on love. It's easy to think that when someone walks away, it's the end of love itself. But it's not. Love, real love, is not confined to one person or one relationship. It's a force that continues to grow and expand, even in moments of loss. Letting go of someone who has chosen someone else doesn't mean you'll never find happiness or connection again. On the contrary, it opens the door to a world of possibilities where you can create a relationship that is built on mutual respect, shared goals, and genuine compatibility. When she chooses another man, let her go, because it's not just a step toward her growth, it's also a step toward yours. This isn't about revenge, bitterness, or trying to teach her a lesson. It's about respecting both of your journeys. By choosing to let go, you are acknowledging that you deserve someone who chooses you wholeheartedly, and you are giving yourself the opportunity to find that. You are affirming your own worth knowing that you will not settle for less than you deserve. So, in those moments when it feels as though the world is crumbling, remember that letting her go is not a loss. It's an act of strength, of wisdom, and of profound self-respect. Let her choose her path, and let yourself find yours. In time, you'll see that sometimes the best way to honor love is by walking away. The pain will fade, and life will bring you the peace and happiness that you deserve. Let her go. You are both better for it. When she chooses another man, the feelings that emerge can be overwhelming. The emotional pain is intense, and it's easy to feel like you've lost everything. But in that pain, there is a crucial lesson to be learned, an opportunity to grow, to reflect, and ultimately to move forward with greater clarity and strength. When she makes that decision, it's often because something deeper has shifted within her. It's not just about another person coming into the picture. It's about the dynamics between you two changing, sometimes without you even realizing it. And the reality is this: when she chooses someone else, you must come to terms with the fact that your relationship, as it once was, is no longer serving either of you in the way it should. Understanding this, the first step is to let go of the notion that you are in control of the outcome. It's a difficult pill to swallow, especially when you feel like your heart is being pulled in the other direction, but it's vital to accept that the path she has chosen is hers to walk. Trying to hold on to someone when they've already decided to walk away is not only unfair to them, but it's also unfair to yourself. You deserve a relationship that is built on mutual desire, respect, and love, not one that is held together by force, obligation, or desperation. Letting go when she chooses another man requires an understanding that love cannot be forced. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that if you just do this one thing differently, or if you try harder, you can turn things around. The truth, though, is that real love comes from both people choosing each other freely without any coercion or manipulation. When one person has made their choice, it's important to respect that choice, even if it's painful. Holding on in the hope that she will change her mind is not only futile, it keeps you stuck in a cycle of emotional uncertainty, preventing you from moving on with your life. There's an inherent dignity in walking away, in letting her go. It shows strength and maturity. It shows that you value yourself enough to not chase after someone who doesn't see your worth. It also reflects a deeper understanding of what love truly is. Love is about freedom. Love is not about possession. It's not about needing someone to fulfill your every desire or expectation. Love, in its purest form, is about accepting the other person for who they are and allowing them the space to grow, even if that means they choose a different path. And when they do, the most loving thing you can do for both of you is to let them go. When she chooses another, it's not just an in, it's an invitation to start anew. It's an invitation to rediscover who you are outside of the relationship, to reconnect with your own identity, your own goals, and your own dreams. Relationships, even the most important ones, are only a part of our journey. There is a larger world out there, and by letting go, you free yourself to explore it, to experience new opportunities, new relationships, and new growth in that space. You can learn more about yourself and what you truly need in a partner. You might find that what you once thought was everything was merely a stepping stone towards something better, something more aligned with your true self. Now, when she chooses another man, it's important to remember that it doesn't diminish your value. It doesn't erase the connection you once shared. You were a part of her life for a reason, and that experience was valuable. But as painful as it may be, the end of a relationship doesn't mean the end of who you are. You are not defined by the person who chooses to walk away. You are defined by your own actions, your own character, and your own journey. So when she makes her choice, rather than seeing it as a rejection, see it as an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity to refine your understanding of love and connection, to reassess what you need in a partner, and to strengthen your resolve in knowing what you truly want out of life. Letting go also means acknowledging that you deserve better. You deserve someone who chooses you, someone who sees the value in what you bring to the table. Holding on to someone who has already made their decision to move on doesn't honor that truth. It only prolongs the hurt and keeps you trapped in an emotional limbo. By walking away, you make space for something healthier, something that allows both people to flourish rather than remain stagnant. When she chooses someone else, it's an opportunity to take back your own power. Don't let it slip through your fingers in the hope of winning back something that was never truly yours to begin with. It can be difficult, no doubt, to come to terms with the fact that someone you once loved has chosen someone else. But in that difficult truth lies freedom. Freedom from the past, freedom to embrace the future, and freedom to live your life authentically without being tethered to someone who no longer shares your vision. Letting go isn't just about the other person, it's about you. It's about taking control of your own life, making decisions that honor your own worth, and setting yourself up for a future filled with possibilities. In the end, the greatest act of love you can offer is not to hold on to someone who no longer loves you, but to let them go with grace and dignity. By doing so, you show respect for yourself and for the relationship you once had. You allow yourself the chance to heal, to grow, and to eventually find the love that is truly meant for you. So when she chooses someone else, let her go. It's the only way forward. For both of you, when she chooses another man, it's easy to feel betrayed, lost, or unworthy. It's natural to spiral, to replay every moment of the relationship, looking for signs you might have missed or things you could have done differently. You might even find yourself obsessed with this other person, wondering what it is about him that she finds so attractive, so captivating. But here's the hard truth. The best thing you can do when faced with this situation is not to dwell on her new choice or attempt to fight it. Instead, it's to turn the focus back on yourself, to step away, and to truly understand what has happened. By doing so, you begin to uncover the profound lesson hidden in the pain and the complexity of human relationships. When a woman chooses someone else, it's often a reflection of something deeper within her, something that has shifted or evolved in the way she views the relationship and in her own life. Relationships are not static. They grow and change, and sometimes they come to an end when one person outgrows it or when the dynamic between the two simply no longer serves the needs of both people. But it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking it's your fault or that you somehow failed her, failed the relationship. This is a dangerous mindset because it assumes that her decision is entirely based on your actions or inactions, when in fact, her choice may be based on an array of factors that have little to do with what you did or didn't do. It's important to understand that love and connection are not transactional. They can't be bargained for or manipulated into existence. When she chooses someone else, it's often because she has found something in that person that resonates with where she is in her life right now, where she feels most alive, most understood, and most herself. And the hard reality is that sometimes, no matter how much you love someone, no matter how much you believe in the relationship, they will choose to walk away. This doesn't mean you're a failure. It simply means that what was once there has run its course, and that's a painful truth to face. But here's the gift within the challenge, the opportunity to grow and learn from the experience. When she walks away, it's not just the end of a chapter with her, it's a moment to reflect deeply on who you are, on what you want, and on what kind of relationship you truly deserve. You can either let this moment break you, or you can use it as a catalyst for transformation. And the path to transformation begins with the acceptance that her choice is hers, and yours is to honor it by letting go. Letting go doesn't mean erasing her from your life or pretending that the relationship never mattered. It doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the grief or the disappointment. Letting go is not about suppressing the emotions. It's about acknowledging them and then choosing to move forward. Letting go is about respecting both her decision and yourself enough to not chase after someone who has already chosen a different path. By chasing her, by attempting to win her back, you are only prolonging the pain and preventing both of you from finding the freedom that comes with acceptance. It's essential to realize that when someone chooses another, it is not a reflection of your worth. It may feel like it is, but it's not. Her choice may say more about where she is in her own journey than it does about your value as a person. You may have been an incredible partner, and yet, for reasons outside of your control, the connection faded or changed. That's the nature of relationships. Sometimes they flourish and sometimes they wither. But none of that diminishes who you are. In fact, this moment is an opportunity for you to reaffirm your worth, to recognize that you deserve a relationship where both people choose each other freely without any coercion or desperation. You deserve someone who values you as much as you value them and who doesn't hesitate to choose you every day. When you understand this, it becomes easier to step away from the temptation to try to win her back. Chasing someone who has already chosen someone else is not an act of love. It's an act of desperation. Desperation comes from a place of insecurity, of not believing that you are enough on your own. But you are enough. You are worthy of love, of respect, and of a relationship that is based on mutual choice and understanding. And that's why when she chooses another, it's not just a call to let her go. It's a call to reclaim your own power, your own sense of self. By letting her go, you are choosing to honor your own boundaries, your own needs, and your own sense of dignity. You are acknowledging that you deserve someone who chooses you, not out of obligation, but out of desire. It is not about controlling the outcome of her feelings or trying to manipulate the situation. It's about standing firm in your own truth, knowing that if she has made a choice, it is one that should be respected, and that you will move forward from this moment stronger and more certain of what you want. Letting go isn't easy, but it is necessary for both your healing and growth. It's necessary for you to reclaim your life, your purpose, and your future. The past, no matter how beautiful or painful, should not define you. It is your actions moving forward that will shape who you are. By letting her go, you are taking a stand for the life you deserve, one filled with clarity, authenticity, and freedom. You are telling yourself that you won't settle for anything less, that love that is reciprocated, that is mutual, and that is built on respect. So when she chooses someone else, let her go. Let her go not because you are giving up, but because you are choosing to respect yourself enough to walk away. When you do, you make room for something new, something better, something that aligns with the person you are becoming. When you choose to let go of someone, especially after they have chosen someone else, there's a fundamental truth you must embrace. This is not a defeat, it is an opportunity for growth. The pain of losing someone, of realizing that they no longer want to be part of your life, can be consuming. It's easy to slip into self-doubt, wondering what went wrong or why they chose another person. The temptation is to hold on, to chase after them, to try to win them back. But ironically, the most powerful thing you can do is to relinquish that control, to free both yourself and her from the past. It's in this space of letting go that you can reclaim your power. It is important to understand that letting go is not about diminishing your feelings or pretending the relationship didn't matter. It's about acknowledging the reality of the situation and accepting that holding on to someone who has chosen another will only prolong the suffering. The truth is, relationships are complex, and often the connection between two people fades over time, even when both are invested. It's no one's fault, it's just the way life works. When someone decides to walk away and pursue someone else, it doesn't automatically mean that you are lesser or unworthy. It simply means that at this moment, your paths are no longer aligned. By choosing to let go, you are making a conscious decision to stop clinging to something that no longer serves you. There is a liberation that comes with releasing your hold on someone who has already moved on. When you continue to chase after someone who is no longer interested, you are essentially disregarding your own needs, your own value, and your own dignity. You're making yourself small in the hope that you can somehow fit into a place where you no longer belong. Letting go is an act of self-respect. It's about putting yourself first and recognizing that you are deserving of a love that is freely given, not coerced or forced. The thing about love is that it can't be forced. True love is not about convincing someone to stay or trying to prove your worthiness. It's about two people coming together because they both genuinely want to be there. When someone walks away, it's an invitation for you to reassess your own needs and desires. You have the opportunity to reflect on the relationship and to consider whether it truly fulfilled you. More often than not, the answer is no. Relationships can become suffocating when they are not reciprocal, when one person is holding on too tightly while the other has already emotionally or physically moved on. Letting go, in this case, is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength and maturity. It takes strength to recognize that something isn't working, to let go, and to trust that the future holds something better. Sometimes, in the aftermath of heartbreak, we can convince ourselves that the pain will last forever, that we will never find someone else who matches that specific person we lost. But this is a false narrative we tell ourselves. The reality is that life is full of infinite possibilities, and by releasing the past, we create the space for something new and better to come into our lives. When we are so fixated on the past, on what has been lost, we forget to look forward, to see the potential that exists beyond what we thought was the best. Letting go also teaches us the invaluable lesson of independence. There's a natural inclination to attach our identity to someone else when we are in a relationship. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that the relationship defines us, that we are somehow incomplete without that person. But the truth is we are whole as individuals. We don't need someone else to complete us. We need someone who complements us. When you let go of someone who has chosen another, you allow yourself to rediscover who you are without that person. You reawaken your own passions, your own desires, and your own sense of self. It's in this rediscovery that you begin to realize that you are just fine on your own, and that the right person will come into your life when the time is right. Moreover, letting go is an essential part of healing. In order to heal from the heartbreak of losing someone, you must first allow yourself to grieve. Grieving doesn't mean holding on or keeping the hope alive that the relationship can be salvaged. Grief is the process of acknowledging your pain, feeling the weight of it, and then, when the time is right, releasing it. It's through this process that you learn to rebuild yourself, to come out stronger on the other side. Healing requires space, and holding on to someone who doesn't feel the same way only hinders that process. This is where the power of letting go becomes truly transformative. It's about trusting that you are worthy of a love that is freely given, that you deserve to be with someone who values you as much as you value them. It's not about holding on to the hope that things will change, but rather recognizing that you deserve a relationship that doesn't require you to beg, plead, or change who you are in order to be loved. When someone leaves, it's an opportunity to rebuild your life in a way that is more aligned with your true self, your goals, and your values. It's not a moment to shrink or retreat into the past, but to rise up and move forward. In the end, when she chooses another, letting her go is the highest act of self-love you can offer yourself. It's a declaration that you are worthy of the love you desire. You are worthy of a relationship where both people are equally committed, where both people choose each other day after day. Letting go doesn't mean you will never love again. It doesn't mean the pain won't still be there for a time, but it means that you are choosing to prioritize your own growth, your own healing, and your own happiness. And in doing so, you create the space for a love that is deeper, more fulfilling, and far more rewarding than anything that has come before. Let her go, not as an act of defeat, but as an act of freedom for both of you. When you let someone go, particularly when they've chosen someone else, you open the door to something new, something far more valuable than simply holding on to a past relationship. It's difficult, no doubt. The feelings of rejection, hurt, and abandonment are raw. They'll linger, and they'll try to convince you that letting go means something's wrong with you. But in reality, letting go is the greatest gift you can give yourself. The temptation is often to cling to the idea of what the relationship was, to romanticize it in your mind. But that's a fallacy. Holding on to someone who has chosen another doesn't honor either of you. It prevents both of you from moving forward and stepping into what's next. We live in a world where we often feel like we need to keep fighting for what we want. We've been taught that success is earned through perseverance, through hard work, and through never giving up. While this mindset serves us well in many areas of life, in relationships it's a trap. Relationships are not about pushing, forcing, or begging someone to stay. They're about mutual choice, mutual respect, and mutual care. When someone decides to leave, it's a sign that they no longer want to continue the journey with you. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's simply that the dynamics have shifted, and holding on to someone who has emotionally or physically stepped away will only prolong your suffering. Letting go is not easy, but it's necessary. The first step is realizing that when someone leaves, it's not about losing them. It's about gaining your own life back. You see, when we're in a relationship, especially one that is no longer serving us, we often forget who we were before the other person came along. We lose sight of our own desires, our own needs, and our own identity. We become so intertwined with the other person's life that we forget how to live on our own. When they choose someone else, it's a wake-up call, an opportunity to remember who you are, and more importantly, to rediscover what you want for yourself. When you let go, you're doing more than just moving on from the person, you're taking back your power. You're choosing to move forward instead of being stuck in a situation where you're constantly waiting for something that isn't coming. It's an act of self-respect. Clinging to someone who no longer shares the same feelings is a disservice to both of you. You're not giving them the freedom they need to live their own life, and you're not allowing yourself the chance to heal and grow. By letting go, you're acknowledging that both of you deserve to be with someone who is fully committed, someone who doesn't have to be convinced to stay. At the core of letting go is the understanding that no one is entitled to anyone else's love. Love is a gift. It's something freely given, not something you can force or control. When she chooses someone else, it's a clear sign that her heart is no longer in the relationship. And while this is painful, it's important to recognize that her feelings are her own. You can't change them, and you shouldn't have to. Trying to win back someone's affection can be emotionally draining and ultimately counterproductive. It only keeps you trapped in a cycle of longing and disappointment. By letting go, you free yourself from that cycle, and you allow space for something that is truly aligned with who you are and what you need. Furthermore, letting go opens the door for you to explore new possibilities. Life doesn't stop just because a relationship ends. In fact, it's often when we're no longer shackled to a past relationship that we discover who we truly are and what we truly want in life. Whether it's pursuing new goals, learning new skills, or meeting new people, the act of letting go enables you to rediscover your independence and autonomy. It's a fresh start, a chance to move forward without the emotional baggage that comes from holding on to something that no longer serves you. This process of letting go is also crucial for your emotional and psychological health. By releasing someone who has moved on, you're not only giving them the freedom to explore their new relationship, but you're also giving yourself the space to heal and grow. It's an essential step in overcoming the emotional scars of the past and moving toward a future that's grounded in self-love and self-respect. Emotional healing takes time, and it's not always a smooth process. There will be moments of sadness, anger, and confusion, but with time and with a commitment to your own well-being, you'll begin to feel lighter, more at peace, and more open to the possibility of love again. In the end, letting go isn't about giving up or accepting defeat. It's about recognizing that your worth is not tied to someone else's decision. It's about realizing that just because a relationship ends, it doesn't mean you're any less worthy of love or happiness. It's about understanding that sometimes the best thing you can do for both yourself and the other person is to let go and allow both of you to move forward. In this space, you'll discover new opportunities, new connections, and a renewed sense of self. The relationship you have with yourself is the most important one, and it's only when you learn to let go of what no longer serves you that you can truly step into the future you deserve. So, when she chooses another man, let her go, not because you've failed, but because you understand that holding on to what isn't right for you prevents both of you from moving toward what's truly meant to be.